Imagine witnessing moments so surprising they'd be impossible to believe if not for a camera capturing every second. From unbelievable rescues to the most unexpected mistakes, we're diving into 100 incredible moments that CCTV cameras managed to catch. After this, I'd be looking for a new hairdresser. In his later years, he finally got his 5 minutes of fame on the internet. In her rush, she didn't wait for the makeshift bridge to be secured. One quick misstep, and she ended up splashing right into the water. It seems this is the one obstacle the cats just can't overcome. Even the most graceful jumpers have their limits. An unusual scene unfolded at the hair salon as an entire family of ducks strolled in, casually waddling through like they had an appointment. The staff might need to add duck whisperer to their job descriptions. Before we continue, let us know which country you're watching from. We're curious to see where most of our viewers are tuning in from. This was supposed to be a relaxing Sunday, but his dogs had a different idea. The first day at a new job can be challenging, and it takes time to adjust and learn. Never rush into an elevator, especially if the floor is slippery from cleaning. Thankfully, she came out unscathed. After filling up her car at the gas station, she completely forgot to put the nozzle back. As she drove off, the hose dramatically yanked out, leaving everyone gasping in disbelief. Gas station staff got quite the show. His wife didn't believe he had accomplished this until she saw the footage. The look on her face when she realized it was true was priceless. We are often unaware of what we are capable of until the moment comes to unleash all our hidden skills. I hope he doesn't have a driver's license and a car. He lifted more weight with the forklift than allowed, narrowly avoiding a dangerous tip-over. Unfortunately, the cargo fell and was completely destroyed in the process. This is why my brother and I were never allowed to play inside the house. Out of all the open spaces where he could have parked, he managed to hit the light pole on the lawn. A big goldfish jumped out of the aquarium, making a splash on the floor. Luckily, he was nearby and quickly scooped it up before it could flop away. With a swift motion, he returned the fish to the water, saving it from a dry fate. He claimed it was a paranormal activity that pushed him into the pool, insisting that some unseen force was at play. However, the CCTV footage hilariously revealed the truth. He simply tripped over his own feet and plopped right in. She wanted to unwind after a long and hectic work week in her pool, dreaming of relaxation and peace. However, fate had other plans for her today, turning her tranquil escape into a slippery adventure. It wasn't the goalkeeper's day at all. A strange situation unfolded at the train station when a girl was filmed looking very angry. No one knows why, as she was alone in the video, holding a bouquet of roses in her hand. Perhaps this type of flower just isn't her favorite. This is the closest thing to paranormal activity. He dropped his new phone from his hand, but just watch how he managed to save it from hitting the ground and breaking. This is usually a straightforward task for them, something they've done over 100 times. However, today didn't go as planned. When they tried to put their motorbikes in the garage, a little mishap occurred that left them all in stitches by the end of the day. They were wondering why their delivery was late when they spotted who had stolen it. They couldn't believe their eyes. As she was exiting the parking lot, she was deep in thought and got a surprise headbutt from the rubberized ramp. Thankfully, it was like getting a gentle tap from a giant marshmallow instead of a hard knock. The chair is there for sitting, but the table isn't, and he'll realize that soon enough. When nature gets angry, it's one of the most terrifying things we can witness, leaving us feeling utterly helpless. He thought it was a malfunction and went to get the staff to check it out. This oversight is going to cost him dearly this time. This adorable dog knows how to create chaos. The height limit sign was clearly visible, but he chose to ignore it, leading to an unexpected situation. Now he'll have to face the consequences and pay the price. He felt utterly embarrassed in front of his girlfriend after the parking ramp took him by surprise. Determined to reclaim his dignity, he decided to challenge the ramp to a rematch. Every beginning is tough, especially when you're a car mechanic. She set out to feed her fish in the aquarium, but one ambitious little swimmer decided it was time to make a grand escape. As it leaped out of the tank, flopping around like a fish out of water, she was left chasing it around the room. One wrong move, and he was left without money for this year's vacation. I think this guy is stronger than Mike Tyson and Jake Paul also. This guy almost won in this real-life game, which is similar to the Squid Game series, but at the last moment he got caught. Still, hats off for the creativity and skill he displayed while climbing up there. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Also, drop a comment below letting us know which moment was your favorite. Without a doubt, this guy deserves the title of Employee of the Month. Let's give him a raise. This is what it looks like when you have more luck than sense. With quick reflexes, he narrowly avoided a major disaster. He wanted to finish this delivery quickly so he could go out with his friends. However, he might soon find himself out of a job and free to party every day. What do you think? Did his cap help him out here, or would a helmet have been more necessary? We have to admit that we all feel like this at the end of the workday. She was incredibly happy when the last client walked out. His next car will definitely need to have front parking sensors. When her boyfriend promised a romantic evening, I don't think she expected this at all. The icing on the cake for her was this fall off the couch when her boyfriend was celebrating. Luck or pure skill? What do you think? Either way, he has a lot of talent that he should harness to become a basketball player. His wife had a reason to install hidden cameras around the house. Now she's not just racing, she's competing in the who can get their tire out of a drain championship. She thought she was posing for a magazine cover, but instead she starred in Birds vs. Humans, the epic showdown. Is he walking sideways, or has the universe decided to play a prank? Either way, it's a new Olympic sport, hallway illusion sprinting. One tire sweating while the others are on vacation. Forget riding, he's creating extreme motorcycle twister. One wheel's dancing, the other's escaping. One moment she's a graceful explorer, the next she's applying furball souvenirs crashing, cat scrambling for safety. It's a doggy buffet, and that bumper is the main course. Who knew parking could attract such fine diners? Just when he thought he could relax with a hot cocoa, the snowplow has other plans. Talk about a snowball effect. It's like the universe said, "Not today, my friend." This guy in his old white car thinks he's a drifting legend, spinning donuts in the middle of the street and creating a massive smoke cloud that could rival a concert. Forget the all-terrain label. This guy's pickup is the real MVP. He makes off-roading look easier than parallel parking. Swing and a miss. He scores a ceiling in one, leaving everyone in stitches. Who needs a crane when you have a truck like this? It's a real-life showdown of power and beauty at the water's edge, and you can almost hear the truck saying, "Hold my beer, watch this." Talk about a red alert. Instead of a smooth turn, he creates a wild ride, leaving those poor BMWs feeling dizzier than he is. Welcome back to the land of the living, he thinks, glancing nervously at the motionless patients. He wonders if he's the only one who'll be able to tell this story, or if everyone else is just as confused, silently plotting their escape from this strange limbo. He's crammed his pickup full of bags, looking like a mobile storage unit, and effortlessly climbs a muddy hill like it's a Sunday drive. Is that a truck or a mountain goat in disguise? Well, that's one way to make a splash. Dad chuckles, and Mom laughs too because chaos equals family fun. "This is my new favorite drink," she jokes, twirling the empty bottle like a trophy. The crowd is torn between concern and amusement, wondering if they should call for help or join her in this bizarre perfume party. Two truck drivers are cruising down the highway, laughing and telling tall tales, when one of them suddenly gets a wild idea to throw a firecracker out the window, thinking it'll be a hilarious prank. A guy hops into his car at the gas station, looking like he's ready to take on the world. But little does he know his front right tire is spinning like it's auditioning for a dance competition. He barely clears the first few bridges, hugging the edges like a contestant in a tightrope walking contest, but then he reaches the last one, the lowest of them all. Meanwhile, his buddy is pulling out of the warehouse with a white trailer, feeling pretty proud of himself until he realizes he's accidentally snagged a section of the sliding fence behind him. In a matter of seconds, his plan goes from rescue mission to disaster, as the spring shatters and takes out yet another car parked nearby, leaving him standing there, scratching his head and wondering if he should have just called a tow truck. Check out the security footage from this house. There's a hilarious moment when a woman, completely distracted while walking her kid, takes an unexpected plunge right into the pool. The best part? She lays there for a moment, staring up at the sky, probably wondering if she's just invented a new way to lounge, while her neighbors can't help but laugh at the unexpected performance. The driver, feeling the adrenaline rush and clutching the steering wheel like it's a lifeline, must be thinking he's caught in the most surreal moment of his life. Part of him wants to laugh at the absurdity, while another part is just praying for a safe landing or a miraculous rescue. With a mischievous grin, she reaches for the ramp, but just as she thinks she's going to pull it off, her head gets hilariously stuck, leaving her in a ridiculous position, half inside the ramp, half outside, looking completely bewildered. A boy in a bright green shirt takes aim at the basketball hoop, confidently winding up to make his shot, but his throw goes wildly off course. With a synchronized flare, they position themselves in a line, forming a vibrant wall that not only guides pedestrians safely across, but also adds a touch of color to the bustling street scene. In an instant, the precarious tower of plumbing fixtures starts to wobble, and before he knows it, everything comes crashing down like a row of dominoes, creating a hilarious cacophony of clattering porcelain. As he speeds down the highway, the sheer size of the trailer makes his motorcycle look like a toy, creating a scene that could only be described as David and Goliath. If David were riding a motorcycle and Goliath were a trailer filled with who knows what. In a moment that feels like it's happening in slow motion, the trailer hits the bridge, and with a thunderous crash, shards of glass explode everywhere, turning the road into a sparkly hazard zone. As he bends down to pick up the bag, the woman realizes how ridiculous the whole scene is. Her bag, filled with groceries and a cute cat keychain, is now being returned to her by a bewildered motorcyclist. She bursts into laughter, saying, "Well, I guess I really need to work on my self-defense tactics." And they both share a hearty laugh, turning a panic-filled moment into a hilarious connection between two strangers. A man decides to tackle the daunting task of moving a large sheet of glass behind his house, convinced that he can handle it all by himself, despite its intimidating size. A couple is cruising down the street in a bright red four-wheeler, but here's the catch: it only has the right two wheels. It's like something straight out of a quirky art piece. As he awkwardly maneuvers the excavator, it starts to lean forward at a bizarre angle, making it look like it's about to dive headfirst into the truck bed, and he frantically tries to salvage the mess, flailing like he's in a battle with a mischievous sand monster. There she stood, staring at the fallen bottles, thinking, "Well, at least I know what I'll be drinking tonight if I can manage to get back inside." Amidst the massive flood, he rode his motorcycle through the water, with only his head bobbing above the surface like a confused buoy searching for direction. Dripping wet and with a cheeky grin, he declared, "Who knew changing a light bulb came with a complimentary swim? Next time, I'm definitely bringing a snorkel." In a moment straight out of a comedy sketch, a guy in a shiny Porsche zoomed down the street, only to gently nudge a fellow crossing the road on his eye-popping yellow scooter. The impact was so soft that the scooter rider barely blinked, just casually leaned against the luxurious car like it was a trendy new bike rack. Startled awake by the fragrant explosion, he squinted at his furry accomplice, who looked entirely too pleased with herself, as if to say, "You needed a makeover anyway." Meet the coolest guy around, the supermarket cart collector, who glides down the parking lot like a superhero, arms out wide, ready to embrace a conga line of 50-wheeled warriors. Picture this. A guy suddenly loses control of his steering wheel, and instead of panicking, he just leans back and lets his car gracefully roll off the asphalt and onto a field, as if he's taking the scenic route. While he was knee-deep in tractor repairs, our hero forgot one crucial step: engaging the handbrake. Suddenly, his tractor decided to take a joyride in reverse, crashing right into his car like it was auditioning for a demolition derby. As she stands there in shock, surrounded by a sea of fallen items, you can almost hear the collective gasp of shoppers, and she's probably thinking, was this a shopping trip or a scene from a disaster movie? You've got to love the irony. He thought he was getting a top-of-the-line phone, but instead, he's ended up with a phone that barely turns on. Now he's smashing windows with the finesse of a ballerina on a caffeine high. Thanks to a surprise ice patch, what was once a neatly arranged row of parked cars now looks like a chaotic game of automotive Jenga. Who knew parallel parking could turn into a high-stakes game of survival? You'd think it was part of an elaborate performance, but that white tent simply couldn't handle the wind, collapsing on itself and then rolling away like it was trying to escape the chaos. Talk about a dramatic exit. In a stroke of genius, he parks right in a giant puddle. But instead of just moving a few feet, he jumps out and starts walking on his hands, auditioning for America's Got Talent. Seriously, if there were awards for ridiculousness, this guy would be a champion. This poor guy thought he'd found the perfect way to sell balloons, but his motorcycle has turned into a launching pad for rebellious balloons ready for takeoff. Watching them escape is like a scene from a comedy who knew selling balloons could turn into a high-flying fiasco. So there he is, sweating and straining as he wrestles with a stubborn rock blocking the horse trailer door. After finally getting it out of the way, he opens the doors triumphantly only to have them swing shut behind him, sealing him inside like the star of a farcical play. Now he's left pondering how his simple task turned into a comedic masterpiece, probably wondering if he should start charging admission for this one-man show titled How to Get Stuck in a Trailer 101. Imagine this. A guy is driving down the road with a trailer loaded so high that it looks like a game of Tetris gone wrong. On top of the pile sits a white car like the cherry on a chaotic sundae. It's the ultimate statement. Yes, I'm overloaded, but at least I'm stylish. Just when she thought she could catch it, she tripped over her own feet and landed spectacularly in front of her house. However, as he turned to rejoin the road, he completely overlooked a pole that was lurking in his blind spot, as if it were a ninja waiting for the perfect moment to strike. The attendant stared in disbelief, wondering if they should call the police or just give him a trophy for most dramatic exit. The attendants, barely holding back laughter, exchanged glances, wondering if he thought he was starring in an action movie or if he just had a knack for turning mundane errands into spectacular fiascos. Water sprayed everywhere, soaking the walls, flooding the floor, and catching the unsuspecting family dog in a surprise shower that left him looking utterly bewildered, as if he'd just stepped into a canine spa gone hilariously wrong. The poor pup shook himself off, sending droplets flying like a furry sprinkler, while the boy giggled uncontrollably, enjoying the chaos he'd created. A guy trips right in front of a paint store, and suddenly it's raining colors on the parked cars like it's a modern art installation. In a race against time, she throws down everything like she's in a one-woman Olympics, determined to reclaim that green ball from her mischievous pup. He's not just driving, he's putting on a show, leaving onlookers wondering if they should call the fire department or just grab some marshmallows. In a split second, he swerves in front of another biker, and it's a miracle they didn't collide. Who needs a helmet when you have lightning reflexes? As he drifts around the corner, he's leaving a trail of smoke so thick you could practically cut it with a knife, like he's auditioning for King of the Smoke Show. It's pure automotive drama, and you can't help but watch as he seems to defy physics while having the time of his life. During a fierce storm, this guy is wrestling with a massive truck that's swaying dangerously, teetering on the edge of flipping over just when you think it's all over. He manages to push it back into place with sheer determination. As he reaches the middle, you can almost picture him striking a pose for an imaginary photo shoot. Look, Mom, I'm living on the edge. It's a wild scene that makes you wonder if he's got nerves of steel or just a great sense of adventure. The vibrant colors of the bikes create a stunning mosaic against the asphalt, resembling a giant moving artwork. If only Picasso could see this masterpiece in motion. As they weave through each other, you might think they're rehearsing for a ballet rather than a high-speed race, pirouetting and leaping in an adrenaline-fueled dance. The energy is electric as he zips around corners, and you can see the sheer joy on his face. He's not just driving, he's living his best life. Onlookers gasp and cheer as he expertly navigates through tight spaces, leaving behind a trail of excitement. It's more than just a car, it's a symbol of freedom and adventure, reminding us all that sometimes the best journeys are the ones taken off the beaten path. Welcome to the most chaotic intersection you've ever seen. Cars and motorcycles are squeezing through tiny gaps like a game of Tetris gone wild. It's a high-stakes game of chicken, where everyone seems to be playing by their own rules, yet somehow, miraculously, there are no accidents. You can almost hear the collective sigh of relief from drivers as they narrowly escape each other, a real-life dance of dodging and weaving. Watch this woman battling the wind as she clings desperately to her black awning, determined to keep it from flying away like a rogue kite. With every gust, it's like the awning has a mind of its own, pulling her in all directions, and you can't help but laugh as she spins around, trying to maintain her grip. Just when you think he's about to lose control, he expertly regains his balance, proving that sometimes the wildest rides come in the smallest packages. It's a joyful reminder that you don't need a flashy sports car to have fun sometimes. All it takes is a little polo and a whole lot of enthusiasm. Hanging there, heart racing, he thought, well, this isn't quite how I imagined my day going. Maybe I should start a new trend called extreme ladder climbing, though I can't decide if that's a sport or just a really bad idea. Meanwhile, the first friend, completely unfazed by the drama, casually took his drink and nonchalantly hopped into his own car, probably thinking, well, at least I got my juice. I didn't sign up for the friend throwing under the car game. Dazed, he picked himself up and mumbled, I didn't know my creative process involved dodging falling statues next time. I'm charging admission for this circus act. With his car precariously perched on the curb, looking as if it were auditioning for a role in a slapstick comedy where the only requirement was to create absurd situations, he stepped out, shaking his head in disbelief while muttering about how he had transformed a simple act of parking into an exaggerated performance that could easily rival any circus act, all the while acutely aware that every single passerby was likely thinking he should have opted for a parking tutorial instead of believing he could execute a stunt that defied all conventional logic. In the dead of night, the boy in his car turned the neighborhood into his personal drift course, sending tires squealing and smoke billowing, while his friend on the balcony recorded the madness, chuckling, at this rate, he's going to drift right into a tic-tic trend. As he tumbled next to the pool, his friends gasped, half expecting the vase to dive in too, while he joked, looks like I almost made a splash, but the vase is still dry. Watch this stunning video of the storm wreaking havoc in the yard, where branches snap like twigs and debris flies everywhere, making you wonder if Mother Nature is secretly directing her own disaster movie. Check out this amazing robot on the garbage truck, effortlessly unloading trash bins directly into the truck, making you wonder if this is the future of waste management or just a clever way to avoid the heavy lifting. Just when you think delivering a package is a walk in the park, this delivery girl has to channel her inner superhero, racing after her runaway van and managing to catch it just in time, proving that sometimes delivery includes a side of excitement. This guy tries to walk into a hair salon through closed glass doors. Smash! He's left stunned, wondering if he just gave himself a new hairdo or a concussion.